promote sexual promiscuity. MFM mponi bebree de teenage pregnancies ahodo ne de keka ho ba. Ene no teenage pregnancy ne ko wie say eno ne e ba behwe. Okay. Sani afi e besa kwo ye ko enim ye besa kwo school curriculum no ankasa mu. Cause enema odun di kan ya ode sesa no ye hu bi. Na ye hu ni nyina na ba ko ahia pa ese ye hwe no e 0.4. 0.4 no ena edie beko the next chapter a teenage pregnancy ni neke kan. Nti ensem rebia no the first picture and then the pictures no doso.
Okay. First picture no here. If sex is free, then make abortion legal and make it easy.
Nti kind 0.4 no.
Mo fa sa picture nto so my.
Na wo de to so anu kind 0.4 na ma.
Okay, yo. MCR, so mo fa picture no nto so emfama yen. That's it. Okay. 80 points no and that's no 0.4 no and a year kind. I say if sex is free, then make abortion legal and make it easy. She said, build clinics for abortion, health clinics in schools. If people are going to enjoy the joy of sexual relationships, they need to be free of unnecessary fears. In other words, they should not be hampered with unwanted pregnancies. Hey. Abortion, as told by Christians, is oppressive and denies our rights. We have a right to choose whether we want to have a child or not. If a woman does not want the pregnancy, she should have the freedom to get rid of that pregnancy, painless and as easy as possible. Today, it is not only accessible, it is forced. Wow. Today, abortion is a strategy to curb population control together with the use of condoms and pills. Wow. Alice Bailey, asema papa ofa, o canon no say abortion. Yama mofane kwan na adwaman no enkoso pa. Na adwaman ne koso nti no mbanyanyam. Ne yempe kwan a abortion enye by force say akola no owo ne pe say obebo adwaman. Nti obo adwaman na enye by force say obo adwaman no nyinsen e ba yem force ne say ye kwata mu no nyima ye say abortion ye bone say wo ye no. Alice Bailey said dabi yama brofa ne kwan onye adwaman sam onyemu a owo ne tumi yama ne tumi no abofra no onyi no ntwene eno no Alice Bailey say chinchina yenye no by force o se we enya say akola no o man no be ne say o akola no wo option ti no ana say akola na bet dabi eye by force akola no onyima onyingu nya afin say ne be so say onyima ye mamre ne kire say wontimi nyinyin say ngu dabi Alice Bailey say dabi onyima and right on pe hospital bi on penti o say omunya clinic kwa wo schools mu enti schools no akola no ye na ye ya onya pill bi na wanom na yi afio ana doctors for nko no ma yama no kama we ene ne Alice Bailey eka ti yemfa mra entitle afa say mra law mra entitle ne yenhwe na nye ne sa pepepe
yo kofim dase enti ono ankasa nim say aman bibiri wo hodo mo a abortion omo mpremema enti no ka we no no yes yenye na ma ekwan mra enya maaye no yenhwe Ghana ha any wiase e dey this second picture no abodi e da so ne Daily Graphic 12 August 2000 AMA boss expresses concern about abortion. Concern and our expressing over kind.
Okay.
From beginning, you know.
Okay. If I tell Mufa Sapi channel and to some for my okay. AMA boss expresses concern about abortion. Also, the chief executive of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, AMA, Ni Adukwe Ado, has expressed concern about the rate at which aborted human fetus is put in polythene bags and dumped at refuse sites in the metropolis. He said 75% of waste of black polythene bags in the metropolis contains human aborted fetuses. According to NIADO, more than 100 of such polythene bags are sometimes picked in a day. More than 100. According to NIADO, more than 100 of such polythene bags are sometimes picked in a day. Hey, he said investigations conducted revealed that this practice is done by kayayos and destitute teenagers. NIADO was speaking at a meeting with members of the Greater Accra Regional Branch of the Ghana Chamber of Commerce. Wow. I see.
Black bag, no friends. It's
almost. After say, every day, Biano, come here, say, no more tassino, 100 of that bags, you know.
If you say, you make it abortion legal, and then conform to your mind, say, you're working, you need your home, into the air. A bar now, what to me. Don't calculate the obey. Next picture.
Next picture, no, Abodi Adasono, a public agenda, August 28 to September 3rd, 2000. Abortion continues to kill women. Mufasa picture no ento so mfa man. Okay. Oba macho ne back in Kayana.
Okay. Back in Kayana the bema.
Yo. Okay. Afam bacho aba 4 yenko. Public agenda 3rd September 2001. Abortion is leading cause of death in Accra. Mufasa picture no ento mo mfa man. Okay. Okay. Yenko. Okay. Okay. Now, the fifth one, public agenda, April 22nd to 28, 2002. Abortion is still illegal and very popular. Abortion is still illegal and very popular. Daily Graphic, 10th June 2002. Women lawyers call for review of abortion laws. Pacho Mufasa picture no ento so mfa mai. Of awutia, maame na asem na okan na geso so kire say, omo use sa strategies no any pills ni condoms ni sa ne ma no mo fa prevent depopulation. Is agenda na bi no.
Oh, say na agenda ndie no anu no.
Oh, okay.
Abrofu ye o madwen say useless eaters. Was asasi so anya ne
before.
And anytime bia opportunity bi be ba no. Una mo target e see mu free asasi so.
Okay.
But ye mamu hunu ne de bibia ba. Oh mu koya ne na beboa mo we family planning a wo be space wo bed. Wo oba odi kan e bia mfie nsia chi na apeso obawu ne. Wone adipo ado ho akuchi.
Amu kuchire no fefe. No package na fefe. Okay.
So
Daily Graphic, 18 September 2002. Abortion rife in Gamashi study. Okay. Abortion rife in Gamashi study. Pacho mo fast up channel to some for my
Accra Central and Kasano.
Okay. Like I said, I know there. Okay. The Spectator, 18 January 2003. The eye saw around Kaneshie Market. People are moving fast channel to some for
so be kind view.
Okay. Okay. I say where the eye saw around Kaneshie Market, 18 January 2003. The Spectator. In the buy. Where I say dumping of aborted fetuses in dustbins and in toilets is becoming almost a daily affair around the Kaneshie Market complex in Accra. Cleaners at the market have always complained about this to the authorities of the market. Mr. H. Kwame Ampofo, General Manager of the Accra Market Limited, has revealed. One such incident was witnessed on the busy streets of the Kaneshie Odoko main road near the market late last year. During the rush hour, a vehicle ran over a 7-month-old fetus which had been concealed in a black polythene bag. The intestines of the male fetus gushed out. The unpleasant sight attracted a large crowd to the scene. However, as at the time of going to the press, the person who committed the heinous crime was still unknown. The situation held up traffic for about 45 minutes as other vehicles attempted to avoid driving over the fetus. One of the eyewitnesses, a porter at the Kaneshie Kasua branch of the GPRTU, who did not want to be named, said on that fateful day between 11 a.m. and 12 noon, all the vehicles had been parked by the roadside to enable a rehabilitation exercise to be carried out at the main Kaneshie Trotro lorry station near the Kaneshie market. Following the rehabilitation exercise, the road close to the market had become very congested. Suddenly, a Kaneshie Odoko bound Trotro passed, and all that we heard was a burst. We thought it was an ice water sachet which had burst, but someone shouted, "Hey, Onipa!" Someone shouted, "Hey, Onipa!" When I went closer, I found out that it was a fetus which had been concealed in a black polythene bag. A closer look at it again indicated that it had its male organ almost formed. The intestines had also gushed out with blood oozing all over it. The rumor mill began rolling as to who the culprit was. Ya Asantua, a bread seller who also witnessed the scene, said she was busy selling when she suddenly heard an unusual noise. All eyes turned to the direction of the noise. We rushed to the scene only to find a fetus which had almost developed into a human being in a black polythene bag lying in the middle of the busy Kaneshie Odoko road. Okay.
Be story.
Yo.
Bianco.
She said, ensama eni nyan pa se sabri ebia oti aduane bi ho ana wo ye ya fache yen na sese ye kenkan ne sa na wo hu nia ekoso ye dase. Next picture no abodi e daso ne public agenda February 16 to 22nd 2004. Activists press for more debate on abortion laws. Pacho mufasa picture na to my.
And also Kenya.
Okay.
Say most African countries no abortion there.
Okay.
Next picture.
Next picture near Daily Graphic, 15th April 2005. Abortions by young women alarming. Pacho mufasa picture no to some for my. Eya semo of Ampatuaba.
Next picture.
Next picture near Daily Graphic, 23rd March 2006. Time to rethink about abortion. Pacho mufasa picture no to some for my. Okay. Yo. Daily Graphic, 18th April 2006. Youth use high doses of drugs for abortion. Hey, Semo. Okay,
next picture.
Next picture, no, The Spectator, 13th November 2010. Break the silence on unsafe abortion. President Mills. Okay, also break the silence of unsafe abortion. President Mills. Yo. Break the silence on unsafe abortion. President Mills. And a cancer same way. We know a Spectator, 13th November 2010. And a buyer. President J.E. Mills has urged African governments to join the crusade to break the culture of silence on unsafe abortions on the continent. He made this appeal in an address read for him at a three-day international conference on unsafe abortions in Africa held in Accra this week. In a speech read on his in a speech read on his behalf by Mr. Robert Joseph Metzel Nunu, the Deputy Minister of Health, President Mills said, "I happily join the crusade in keeping the promise. It is time to break the culture of silence on unsafe abortions in Africa. Women have a choice. They need to know their rights. Keeping our promise, addressing unsafe abortion in Africa, is by Women's Health International Non-Governmental Organization NGO, IPAS, in collaboration with Ghana's Ministry of Health, the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, United Nations, the African Women Development and Communication Network, the International Planned Parenthood Federation of Africa, and Mary Sitopos International. Okay.
Mary
Stopes International. Of Planned Parenthood. It was attended by about 250 participants, including health care providers, advocates, parliamentarians, and women groups who shared best practices and also lessons learned in the course of their activities.
Now, they are working kind. I just say, na before nyani say abortion da ben na ye be legalize, da ben ye be legalize. Aye bia no man ati say Alice Bailey di bibia betu baby ana. That's what mountain so a e dey na inspire wo mo a wo mo prefer and say it be legalize abortion. Now bubo enkofo bi din companies bi ne NGOs mienu bi enho asem beba na eno ne be sorry.
Okay. Yo.
Next picture.
Yet was there na Daily Graphic 20th November 2010. Thai police find 2,000 fetuses in temple. Hey. Move us up picture into some family. I see. Okay. Where Daily Graphic 20th November 2010. Thai police find 2,000 fetuses. Thai police say they have found the remains of more than 2,000 fetuses thought to be from illegal abortions hidden at a Buddhist temple in Bangkok. The remains were discovered in the temple's mortuary in containers usually used for bodies awaiting cremation. Police were alerted by a terrible smell after the temple furnace broke down. 2 temple workers and a woman believed to have been paid to collect and dispose of fetuses from illegal abortion clinics have been arrested. The bodies, wrapped in plastic bags, were discovered in a newly open area of the mortuary days after authorities found 348 in another room. Hey. A 33-year-old woman has admitted taking money to collect fetuses from several clinics. She earned just over $16, £10 for each fetus she delivered to the temple. Police said 2 temple workers had been charged with hiding the bodies. Abortion is illegal in Thailand unless pregnancy is the result of rape or incest or a mother's health is at risk. Police say they have begun raiding some of the 4,000 clinics in Bangkok they suspect are used to perform illegal abortions. The case has also focused attention on the abortion business in Thailand. Wealthy women can get abortions in safe facilities, but the vast majority of Thai women wanting an abortion use clinics which could put their health and safety at a great risk. BBC and a report to that case.
Well, next picture.
Next picture no public agenda 20th January 2012. Dangerous abortions on the rise, says WHO. Pacho mo fasa picture na to some farmer. We WHO for na can you.
Next picture.
Next picture no Daily Guide 25th January 2012. Legalize abortion. Mo fasa picture na to some farmer. Okay. Yo, that picture na da so dia of say yen kan kakra. We legalize abortion. Daily Guide 25th January 2012. Okay. I say Professor Fred T. Tsai, a former presidential advisor on population issues, reproductive health, and HIV/AIDS, has called for the enactment of legalization to legalize abortion. The family health specialist noted that in a country where there is restrictive abortion legalization or no law to legalize the process, women resort to unsafe abortion, which often leads to high rates of maternal mortality. According to him, over 15% of maternal deaths in Africa were through unsafe abortion, which he observed have devastating consequences for families. Addressing the sixth annual research conference on population, reproductive health, and economic development in Accra, Professor Tsai said if legalized, abortion could also help in family planning. Wow. The 4-day conference was organized by the University of Ghana in collaboration with the Population and Poverty Research Network, POPPOV, a group of academic researchers and founders from around the globe interested in how population dynamics affect economic outcomes, and population researchers with an emphasis on empirical research about Africa.
Yeah.
Okay. Yo.
Now, you better about Dr. F.T. Tsai.
Okay. Yo, offer.
Next picture.
Next picture no Daily Guide 25th January 2012. Legalize Mpacho. The next one here, Daily Graphic 1st October 2019. Don't use weedicide for abortion. Hey!
Tu say illegal antino. Enkwani ya desperate sa anase ema omo afafu a omo mpeno. Ibi ebebe omo kwambia no no mbe use bia ye.
Hey, offer
until say afi ebeji atum say afi ya legalize. Entino. Ompa obetumi aboku to a place where omo ye. Ya. Eno e dey atoso abekai.
Okay, I say don't use weedicide for abortion. Daily Graphic 1st October 2019. The country director of Mary Stopes, Ghana, Miss Annie Cooling, has cautioned women and girls to stop using weedicides to cause abortion. According to her, the use of weedicides for abortion was dangerous and risky to the health of the woman who used it. Speaking at the relaunch of Mary Stopes Ghana Kokomlemle Center last Friday, Ms. Cooling said unsafe abortion could lead to complications such as severe infections, infertility, and even death. Mary Stopes is an international non-governmental organization that provides comprehensive contraceptive and family planning services. Wow. According to her, The use of unsafe means for abortion in Ghana was shocking, adding that about 45% of all abortions in Ghana were unsafe. Unsafe abortion is risky. Ms. Cooling stressed that those who resorted to unsafe ways of abortion exposed themselves to risk. She admonished women who got in a situation where they had unwanted pregnancies to seek medical counsel to enable them to take good and informed decisions concerning safe abortion means. If by accident a woman finds herself in a situation where she has unwanted pregnancy, Mary Stopes is here to help you on your abortion options, she said. Ms. Cooling further encouraged women and men to patronize family planning methods to prevent unwanted pregnancies.
Now, some kakra make about Mary Stopes, and he say, "Oba we know for Scotland. Na ya wono 1880, and we free asasi so 1958. Sanya Oba ba kubi so on to peja ni mu America, ne ho asem beba. Margaret Sanger nso ya wono 1879, and ofi mu 1966. Alice Bailey ya wono 1880, and ofi mu 1947. E ma mi ensen o hu bi o mu di.
Ni is offer.
What we are contemporaries. Obi anya chen obi aye 1 year. Because 1879 Margaret Sanger, 1880 Mary Stopes, 1880 Alice Bailey. And so omu ni jira omu na so. E di sa niema we buy. Mary Stopes no ye eugenicist.
Okay.
Ya kaso obi ye eugenicist da. Omu ye nkofo no a wo say eugenics the science of perfecting a race. E di wo a wo so ni mfaso no e say sterilize.
Like I say, offer sterilizing the chest. I only a man.
Yeah, man, you try because we are unfit, we are feeble-minded. Want to mean it? It didn't pass on your Java, over who sent Kamwa.
Now do however.
Now do however two almost. And didn't you see you move free? No, Mary Stopes to Evia.
Okay.
Just as Margaret Sanger and Suebia. And the Mary Stopes, a bell launchy. Sunny Hawking kind. Oba be launch Mary Stopes Ghana. Na omo operate o 37 countries e wo wiase. Omo Ghana, omo Uganda, omo Kenya, omo Nigeria and some other countries eke kan ho. Omo 60 clinics. Ghana omo 8 centers. 8 centers no omo no kokomlemle eno ho de na okenkan ye no. Ashama obi, Dansuma obi, Tama Newtown omo obi ho. Ena Tama Community Health nso ebi oho. Tesano ebi oho no mo headquarters wo. Ena Tamale. Omo set up abortion clinics a. De omo ya.
Afa baby a wo hwen so omo set clinics bi ji say Ashaman.
Se hona.
Akra with Tama Newtown. Wo hwe areas na. Some of these things, you know,
have been too much.
Over. Is that the area muka credit? Aha. It will get to my new town. A shaman there. Like I say, who's there? Kokomemle, Sunday, who's there? House and Cranfoni, who's there?
And you're pretty 8 centers. Our mamba facilities no corona. Let me you go. Hey, your grandma says, yeah. Hey, you must say about or more. And Tina Kakra, make about Mary Stopes. I don't know. And go here next picture.
Your next picture, no, no cry, Jimmy. My next picture, no, yeah. The good news September, October 2005, UN treaty to make abortion a basic right. Where a question, Obisa. Pacho, move us up picture and to some family. Okay, open back to Abba. Yo, eno na ye kan bi kakra fi sa ayi mu chocho yi mu. UN treaty to make abortion a basic right. The good news, September, October 2005. Okay, I'll say some countries are using a UN treaty to make abortion an international legal right, according to the Catholic World News website, cwnews.com. Language making, sexual and reproductive health services, UN jargon for abortion. If I say we no you for this terminology we buy.
I know the buy.
Jargon. I saw omo fin bi omo di.
Say we can abortion no a o man negative ayi. Say na countries illegal. So be abortion illegal. And yes san ya say sexual reproductive health service. Any dey bad there. Say
I guess ebusiafo ye kan oti sexual reproductive health service abortion one sem na ye kan yo as UN jargon for abortion, a basic human right, has received broad support from governments involved in drafting a UN treaty to protect and promote the rights of the disabled. Kese amani nyina akogye atom aban government ahodo ni nyina agye atom. Yo, such language has never previously appeared in a binding treaty. If approved, the treaty would require signatory nations to provide persons with disabilities with the same range and standard of health and rehabilitation services as provided other citizens, including sexual and reproductive health services. By describing such services as rights guaranteed to all citizens, the treaty would essentially enshrine abortion rights as international law. Wow. The current draft also includes language that has been interpreted as supporting euthanasia.
Euthanasia ne process bia obi kimi yare a abo no ahwa otiti asase otiti no ye ma ne kwan no a onyini hu mpra asase.
Okay,
ndi na wo be ko mo machines ne neme bi a eno ne betimi di aboa na je say ya terminate life na je say wako eno no mfra no euthanasia koso ya approve of countries be no baby crowd has a tourist center. You say appointment with death. Ukwa, you do be called dan interior decoration in who near many no prepare or hold one nature say. We kwa kutia sikao. I was about saying how many pounds ka crab.
Wow. Yeah, so the current draft also includes language that has been interpreted as supporting euthanasia by banning life-saving measures for the ill and medical treatment for those attempting suicide.
Yeah. Now, when what kind say a year in part now it is say so be reprove. Now if you say fetus no development no e be ni pakura and one time you go could year free hon. Enti eno ena no mu gina so e dia ye we na by say any have the city me may basic right. Una do ho ba person take article be by no record the next picture.
The next picture here, the Philadelphia Trumpet, June 2005, kill defective ones. Kill defective ones.
So, based on the law, no, or more yen, say, who say, a crime pass, so I need say no buy, and also be a hawker, no, Tago for cancer, or more, as a not more a hand near you, never say, Uko Yin say no. Ono amu ono wore papa dada now so dey another a year obeden no handle situation in the no sa na see it na article we ba say kill the defective ones kind my any
Society watch abortion kill the defective ones. I say what comes to mind when you think about human beings murdered because of genetic defects or disabilities? It is Nazi Germany with its mercy killings, and its goal of racial purity. How about considering the abortion laws in America, Britain, and across the rest of the developed world? These laws are allowing hundreds of unborn babies to be aborted under the legal medical practice known as eugenic abortion. In Britain, it is legal to abort a fetus if there is a substantial risk that if the child were born, it would suffer from such physical or mental abnormalities as to be seriously handicapped. Abortion Act. It is common practice for expectant mothers to abort babies with genetic defects discovered during prenatal testing. In Britain, over half of unborn babies with Down syndrome are aborted. In America, which has even more liberal abortion laws, fully 80% of these babies are aborted. 80%. Washington Post, April 14th. Often, if a pregnant mother is hesitant to undergo the operation, medical professionals urge and pressure her to dispose of the fetus. One mother who participated in a study of parents of Down syndrome children reported in 1999 that when she was told her baby had Down syndrome, a geneticist showed her a really pitiful video first of people with Down syndrome who were very low tone and lethargic looking, and then proceeded to tell us that our child would never be able to read, write, or count change. These professionals paint the bleakest of pictures for mothers who expected babies may have Down syndrome, spina bifida, or another conditions. They neglect to relate any positives, such as the fact that there is a waiting list of people wanting to adopt Down syndrome babies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Enti enyo bia ena wo mu no hwese. Eso utime wo.
Ya semu.
E kwan a befa so a wo benyinsen no. Enye kwan a wo mu no na a define part no a be you free hold. Yanko next picture.
Your next picture no here Metro December 13th 2002. Abortion rate up to 1 in 3. Mufa picture no ento so my.
Se woko Britain se si a ye tie ni say enam say abortion ye legal ntino 1 in 3 girls bia on ye enya ba ya we dispose of ntino akwa eti say wo mu no bebre no asmo mo kan say wo mu career here wo mu chain making a family until say ono wa starting a career no de adu baabi no empa we mitwintwa anakwa eno nche say onyinani wo dudani ne ko wiewie nyinsen a
eso
odi ye nje ne eta ho chinchin a obey. Next picture.
Daily Graphic 20th October 2014. Government launches adolescent reproductive health project.
Abi West no na eba no. Ghana. The West no and afi eba.
Government launches adolescent reproductive health project. Abortion any ya launch no. Ghana and the launch here. Ufasa eno da so far or the atoso amaye.
Next picture
No Daily Graphic 19 February 2016. African First Ladies. African First Ladies hold 7th African confab on sexual health. Pacho picture
Mama Kibibi.
Yo. Where African First Ladies hold 7th African confab. Afamaki baby say yen kind. Na no na yebe kind. Okay, I say all in campaign. During the conference, the First Ladies will also launch a united continental all-in adolescent HIV campaign under the umbrella of OIFLA. The launch of the HIV campaign is collaborative effort of OIFLA, the Ghana AIDS Commission, and the global all-in partners such as UNICEF, UNFPA, and AIDS to urge governments to prioritize and improve the provision of integrated HIV and sexual reproductive health services to adolescents between the ages of 10 and 19 years. Hi. Global push. The initiative forms part of the global push to end the HIV epidemic by 2030 with the aim of reducing AIDS-related deaths and new HIV infections among adolescents by 65% and 75% respectively by 2020. Mrs. Mahama has prioritized the campaign to ensure that all member states across the continent give attention to the sexual reproductive health of adolescents.
Yeah. Go next picture.
Hey! Your next picture in the Daily Graphic, 18 February 2016. Let's support continental initiatives on adolescent reproductive health. OFLA. Pacho. Hey! Amuguzo. Let's support continental initiatives on adolescent reproductive health. OFLA. Daily Graphic, 18 February 2016. I'll say, First Ladies from Africa have called on the international community, UN agencies, the African Union Commission, and other development partners to actively support continental initiatives on adolescent reproductive health systems. They have also called on governments and national institutions to ensure the enforcement of laws and the domestication of international and regional instruments and legal frameworks that protect women and young people, including their sexual reproductive health and rights. In a communique issued by the First Ladies at the launch of the Adolescent All-in-One campaign in Accra, Ghana, urged national, regional, and continental entities to coordinate efforts that would lead to the elimination of all forms of gender-based violence and harmful practices. Okay, where reaffirm commitment. The communique said the First Ladies would continue to advocate gender equality and the empowerment of women and adolescent girls to exercise their reproductive rights, including access to safe, voluntary family planning services, and ensure access to sexual and reproductive health information and services in line with regional and global instruments. Chase, offer. Enti yema mi foi. omo ya aware of Madam
Alice Bailey.
Alice Bailey. Any mami ebodidi Mary
Stopes.
Any ni other two competitors are Sanga ni omo maka no. Omo ya aware of omo hihye ni omo niam ya nti omo tu adi echi omo so musa.
Kofi en de me.
Afa wada Roma, wada obetimi abie so ama omo hu. Omo tie ya mpanyifo mutie ya mu hu ne ekoso no. Maka ye ma no agu ohaw mu papa. Yo.
Next picture.
Next picture no Daily Graphic 26 August 2016. Adolescent health project sizes adolescent health project sensitizes Brong-Ahafo youth. Okay, we first picture no ento so information.
Obeka bibio.
Okay, yo.
Na market.
Maybe our market no of pacho yo. We Daily Graphic now, okay. I say adolescent health project sensitizes Brong-Ahafo youth. Daily Graphic 26 August 2016. More than 77,000 young people in the Brong-Ahafo region received information on sexual reproductive health from January to June this year from the Ghana Adolescent Reproductive Health Project. Also, during the same period, more than 63,000 young people received various sexual and reproductive health services through platforms such as adolescent health corners, school health clubs, and outreach points. The project, since its inception in 2014, has supported various capacity building efforts at all levels for over 6,600 individuals, including program managers, teachers, healthcare professionals, and peer educators.
Yes. Oh, we want the echoes.
Hey,
Ghana. It is Alice Bailey can say, if sex is free, then legalize abortion. On we can password ye jenny no dia baby pie United Nations jargon. I say the sexual and reproductive health service.
That is so far commandment na ya adwuma o. Oh. Nyame say an commandment ya adwuma they say the Alice Bailey commandment ya adwuma the whole we are bia. Agro. Yo.
Next picture
no Daily Graphic 23rd October 2017. World Population Report calls for sexual and reproductive health rights. Was it World Population Report calls for sexual and reproductive health rights? Move first picture no of that so that.
And the other kind be your house.
Okay.
My market
Okay, yo. Hey, and then the assembly no World Population Report calls for sexual and reproductive health rights. Daily Graphic 23rd October 2017. Of a market baby, I say call to action. The 136-page report calls for action to bridge the yawning gap between the richest and the poorest, describing the situation as not only unfair but also a risk to economies, communities, and nations. It states that with lack of education, young women, especially those in rural communities, do not have the power to decide whether, when, and how often they become pregnant. It knows that those rights were far from universally realized, with hundreds of millions of women still struggling to obtain information, services, and supplies to prevent pregnancy or give birth safely. Okay, Yajampe Abaha. Okay. Okay. I'll say the program is aimed at achieving universal access to sexual and reproductive health, promoting reproductive rights, reducing maternal mortality, and accelerating progress on the International Conference on Population Development Agenda and the Millennium Development Goals. 5, A and B. The overall goal is to contribute to improve quality of life of women and young people in Ghana by supporting the population, reproductive health, and gender policies and programs. That strategy, Mr. Amoah said, was targeted at reducing maternal mortality and addressing adolescent sexual reproductive health and rights.
That's it. Yes, stress, sexual reproductive services, sexual reproductive rights.
Hey, Dina, yes, son, I am on the Ghana for Pennyfo and Tiasia analysis offer.
I need a mean to minka. Hey, I need a mean to minka. But what do I need to be a chair? Yet, I need to send down the same crowd of our being echo. I the newspapers and the day can't say more. And prefer being feedback. And yeah, you do. Young to us go the next picture, Daily Graphic, 6 November 2020, where they are higher and Biasa. Government, NGOs must work to reduce and save abortions. Research study. But I want first picture into some. Charles says, say, Nidia. You are making facilities be available, say. And here, say, Kwako used to we decide. So they are born. And here, say, Kwako num DDT. So they are abortion. Because, and then, no, wait me, I go baby straight. Next picture,
no, ha, my men got a few more Hanom. Margaret Sanger found parenthood. So my grow on. Aha, on that's no, mommy way. In I think 1998, so 1999, and I'm a team mommy wedding. I never the buyer. Planned Parenthood. Okay, Margaret Sanger. In 1939, a leading American eugenist, mother of control and founder of Planned Parenthood, called for plans growth of black baby America. But I'm Martin Okayeno. Okay. Up her plans to cover up her plans to exterminate that black ministers of religion be retreated and that 3 or 4 of them with engaged be hired to preach throughout the American. Sterilization was a solution to poverty. According to her, approaching through a religious appeal would be the most successful educational approach. Sooner than later, clinics were established in the states with the highest proportions of unfit, also referred to as feeble-minded, syphilitic, irresponsible, and defective. Today, in America, over 70% of Planned Parenthood clinics are located in predominantly black or Hispanic areas where it controls population development of the black community by performing over 90,000 legal abortions in a year. Apart from that, about 53% of all abortions in America are performed on black and Hispanic women who represent a very minute of the American population.
Every way, no, what kind of way, no? You can't compare first video.
Of all them say, "Mammy, asem ya okay." Mama, ade ba Ghana ha no. Na so for no mudi mutinti man pa abortion. Sorry, ne omre namuni pa.
Sabe na ye Kristo.
Na me ye Kristo for na Pentecost. Fa na man shia na ya invite no mo be senya obe prevent awo senya obe fa pills ni ade no tete awo mu na sorry asofo no no mo be ye sorry Tama bae no.
Enti na o kan say
Nti
baby ono wo no. Yakofo o ma beka mo no mo ti ase say. Ohia de o be fi mu a. Isi twa wawo.
A Christopher.
Na mo so di tum.
Asofo.
Enti e ko here first video.
History of Planned Parenthood. Monja sa video no enfangu mai.
Parenthood, where stayed Margaret Sanger, Planned Parenthood's and hero.
She was a proponent of the viewpoint that you should rule out unfit people from the bloodline. So that would be encouraging people not to procreate if they're unmarried, had enough mental illness, and that also included forced sterilization.
Words like unfit and feeble-minded were used to describe not only the poor and ill, but also to describe African Americans.
Margaret Sanger stated that birth control is nothing more or less than the facilitation of the process of of preventing the birth of defectives or of those who will be defectives.
In 1921, Margaret Sanger founded the American Birth Control League. Its primary mission was to prevent uncontrolled procreation and establish birth control.
She states, knowledge of birth control is essentially moral. It's general, though prudent practice lead to a higher individuality and ultimately to a cleaner race. Margaret Sanger stated that the most merciful thing that the large family does to one of its is kill it.
Sanger wrote a letter to her eugenics colleague, Dr. Clarence Gamble, a member of the Birth Control Federation of America, in regards to setting up the Negro Project, a birth control clinic for African Americans.
She was speaking about serving what she called the Negro population, and in concluding, stated that we do not want word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population, and the minister is the man who can straighten out that idea if it ever occurs to any of their more rebellious members.
Sanger believed that having an African-American minister on staff would ease the suspicion.
Populations were considered some of these unfit members that should be weeded out. So in this letter, she discusses African Americans serve other African Americans so they wouldn't be aware that they were seeking to terminate them by the use of birth control and negative eugenics.
Sanger was director for the Society for Hygiene. He would later go on to write Nazi Germany's sterilization laws. In 1933, she published his article, Eugenic Sterilization, an Urgent Need, which promoted programs to eliminate the create super race. In the late 1930s and 40s, knowledge of Nazi atrocities made words like eugenic and population control unpopular in America. So in 1942, to distance itself in name, Margaret Sanger's American Control League became Planned Parenthood. They weren't just being established in the U.S., it was global. A grim fact in American history was the forced sterilization of women in Puerto Rico. In 1936, sterilization programs spearheaded by the International Planned Parenthood Federation, with funding from the U.S. government, sterilized 1/3 of Puerto Rican women by 1968, making it the highest proportion of childbearing-aged persons sterilized in the world. And today,
Planned Parenthood facilities are generally located in low-income areas which are heavily populated with minorities, and a lot of times they seek to reach those minorities to help them with reproductive rights, they say, with birth control and largely abortion.
Independent studies have concluded that nearly 80% of Planned Parenthood facilities are set up in minority communities. It's no wonder abortion is the leading cause of death among African Americans, higher than all other causes combined. Mounting evidence against Planned Parenthood's beginning to today continues to fuel public outcry.
The American people should seek to immediately defund Planned Parenthood so that our own tax dollars don't go to support this organization who has been exposed to lying to the American people for many years, for doing these egregious acts against the youngest children among us. They should be immediately defunded.
Wake Up Africa, na video na yɛhwɛ no ɛkyerɛ saa maame a yɛbɔ ne din a ɔkyerɛ sɛ ɔno deɛ ne deɛ a ɔba wiase ɔbɛyɛ ne sɛ kwan bi aso no ɛsɛ sɛ woyɛ bibini a abifoɔ ye hu ni faso ti no ye se kwan bia so ne yi yen Puerto Rico in 1968 1/3 of emma no omo mechi omo hwe ye se 1/3 no obi antumi nwo ni nyina ho dwumadie in Naxos time ena sa niema we sha se population control omo ye ho niema maami we atesuma se atotoro ho nwuma aguwa wa kire se omo hwe se MPA ma bibini wonte bi se ne ofa ne ofa akofa ba ya ye te se sa na eya gender ena oye maami totoro ho manyi nyina tokuo se omo hwe se MPA na se niema be fa so kwan se omo fa so na target ne ya bibifo na ye bisa wo bibifo maami ne yaka no ana nti abrofo ne de omo wu ayiti ana omo na asase ni nyina ne se supremacy omo pese race no broni eye more suprema ten wo bibini na omo aye nsoso enti bibini hu ne ho a okakra a unu onte wase we na video of ama ye kohwe bone a mame no ode abetu wase a eneme no kasa yi eguso ekoso aye mpanyifo atu adi akira asofo nyina ka ho bi Muhammad Aro
enti kofi ene ye ba be Planned Parenthood ebi organa
hapa
your next picture
no Daily Graphic 25th November 1997 early beginning ipacho mo fa se channel to so fama
mama ke ho
yo we graphic in near kan ya Daily Graphic na early beginnings Daily Graphic 25th November 1998 enye izo I say the PPAG is born on March 3rd 1967 in a lecture room at the maternity block Kolebu Teaching Hospital in Accra. The PPAG, this unique and historic occasion, the underlisted public spirited men and women under the chairmanship of Dr. K.G. Kunya, then chairman of the Public Service Commission, met to discuss the possibility of forming a family planning association in Ghana. They were Mr. Clara K. Kweku, Dr. M.A. Bano, Mrs. Jane Forrester Patton, Dr. K.K. Bensi H.L. Bensi H.L. Dr. A.A. Ama, Dr. K.K. Kosa, Dr. D.B. George, Dr. F.T. Sai.
Dr. Sai.
Dr. Sai, okay.
Dr. Sai legalized.
Okay. So Dr.
One of the pioneers
okay.
of PPH establishment in Ghana.
Okay.
Okay.
Mrs. Jane M. Pinda, Mrs. B.B. Asrifi, Mrs. Elfrida Nete Mabel, Mrs. Rosen Akwe, Mrs. Frederica R. Aite, Mrs. Valencia Kofi, Mrs. Dorothy Bano, Mrs. Rosina Konya, I'm sorry, Mr. Konya, Mrs. Comfort Akrofi, Miss Dosia Kisea. Those people who were enrolled as founding members of the PPAG unanimously agreed that the time had come for the introduction of family planning in Ghana. At this meeting, members were informed of the readiness of the IPPF to help the association financially and with other material needs. Maybe.
That's
okay.
Enti ekwan we so na efa ya ebae. Omo bae no history no bie mu so wo. Emra omo di 50 years.
Okay.
Ha no mo kakra ye
Okay.
And I'll be kind of man.
Okay.
The woman person, we and say, a coba say, Doctor B, your friend Dr. Bano. Enti ona nam ne so. Enam ne so a Bano Junction, who call it to be a coachy, Mamprobi to be a coachy. One more bus stop B.
Yeah.
And I said, stop
Stop
B.
B.
The friend of Bano Junction. Kind and no story.
Okay, we're 50 years of PPAG in Ghana. Daily Graphic, 22nd March 2017. Okay. I say and kind I say championing SRH information and services. But you are marking here. This led to an engagement with the International Planned Parenthood Federation, IPPF, resulting in an invitation to Dr. M.A. Bano, the then president of the Ghana Medical Association, and other Ghanaian officials to attend IPPF's West European and Mediterranean Regional Conference in Copenhagen in February 1966. The delegation left the conference with a firm resolve to form a family planning association in Ghana. And as the convener, Dr. Bano offered his home as the temporary head office of the association.
Ntia ho. Noti Latibia Okoshi.
I see.
And a cofa Bano Johnson.
So
what have pass Aqua and Swa a popular sports.
I see.
Bano Johnson.
Did you ever remember Bano Johnson by PPAD? Dr. Bano, why are they? Munina, Muyan Penifua, Mabebo Brawe, our Ghana. Yo.
Next picture.
Next picture, no. A Daily Graphic 25th November 1997. Now, PPAG in perspective. 30 years of reproductive health services. Mufa reproductive service. Okay.
PPAG in 30 years, no.
PPAG in perspective. 30 years of reproductive health service. Hey! My boy Juma. Nyamudia ye mai.
Until Baba kind of document be or ha.
Okay.
A market 1, 4, 4 and 5.
Okay. Yo.
A market.
Okay.
And have a kind. Yen hunu PPAG, Planned Parenthood Association of Ghana. And ye Juma or Moye. Yes, say.
PPAG Planned Parenthood Association of Ghana. Sexual health, reproductive, sexual health for quality life. The history. PPAG was established in 1967 as a non-governmental organization affiliated to the International Planned Parenthood Federation, IPPF. The association has a long history of leadership in family planning programs in Ghana and has pioneered many projects including family life education, FLE for the youth, male clinics, and the integration of family planning into community development projects. It is currently the leading non-governmental organization providing sexual and reproductive health, SRH service in Ghana. Ono kwa na what to me no. A man or leading
provider.
Yes. The association works to complement the efforts of government in providing healthcare and development for the nation. Okay. Yeah, we first one no, the second one no. Okay. Okay. Where when you say PPAG services, Young and Wise Centers. Young and Wise Centers. These centers provide SRH information and services, counseling, recreation, and vocational skills training for young people. Tactical. The current Young and Wise Centers are located at Latibia Koshi in Accra region, Oforikrom in Ashanti region, and Gisona Yili in the northern region. In addition, young and wise services can be obtained from franchise holders countrywide. Young friendly clinics, youth friendly clinics. SRH services are provided for youth and adults. Services provided include counseling and information, voluntary counseling and testing, VCT for HIV/AIDS, management of STIs, family planning, antenatal, postnatal services, management of unsafe abortion, post-abortion care, male services, treatment of minor ailments, and referrals. These clinics are located in Accra, Nkwanteng, Kumasi. These clinics are located in Accra, in Nkwanteng, Kumasi, Takoradi, Cape Coast, and Barubu. Okay. Also, the other say vision and mission. Vision of PPAG is that Ghana should become a country in which the youth are well informed about sexual and reproductive health, SRH, and confidently exercise their right of choice of SRH services without fear and or any obstacle from sector of the society.
Ebratoka SRH no bonifu na enhu yentasi. SRH no fu no ye reproductive, sexual and reproductive health. And no ya no short SRH. It is a candia. The vision of PPAG is that Ghana should become a country in which the youth are well informed about sexual and reproductive health. SRH issue confidently exercise their right of choices of sexual reproductive health services and any from any sector of society. That's as I say.
Akolane wo say onye oye bold na ba oye abortion bi owura hotel obi asi ne kwan site no obi ani ho kwan se obekasa ne kwan ti se me de me bakura na me ni ho kwan se me ba no mesi ne kwan se abortion
Elizabeth
Point 2. The association mission is to provide the youth the knowledge and means of exercising their side freely and responsibly on their sexual and improving the quality of life of the and I'm improving the means of God.
Freely about sexual reproductive health services in the account. Next picture.
Next picture here, Daily Graphic, 15 July. PPAG deliberates on sexual reproductive health. Move us up picture.
I'm marking baby.
Okay.
When they trying to tell me.
Of course, baby, I'm marking where PPAG deliberates on sexual reproductive health. Daily Graphic, 15 July 2014. Baby, of our market, yes, I can say sexual and reproductive health challenges confronting women. An enabling environment to reproductive health services from Pacho.
Yamahu Quine, about whom say, say no. No more Quine, Jat Mudia. and the mom promote to near ma easy. Ya to me meet just as a baby. Next picture.
The Daily Graphic, 2nd March 16. Intense sex education for adolescents. PPAG. F1 air can.
We had them.
When so yeah, intensified sex education for adolescents PPAG. Daily Graphic, 2nd March 2016. If you are from Akiyama and the kind, Miss some young females to unprotected things that would expose them to unwanted pregnancies. She said abortion was permissible. The country things and females to desist from using an orthodox method, which could lead to death complications. On abortion in the country are if a pregnancy is likely to pose danger to the health of the mother, certified in a safe medical environment, he said. The national coordinator, Mr. Wise, was on providing young females with information on their sexual lifestyle to reduce the number of related deaths.
That's it.
Next, Peter, no, about the Anderson Daily February 2017, he calls for policies to promote Rachel. First picture na into some family. So next one is July 20. Reproductive health education services.
They say about so I who say any this is been who say
aben
any
ye call anim dia na ye hwe the Philadelphia Trumpet 2005 it's a only mother where you're questioning and now obisa
America legalize abortion so dance one into kwa pro-life choice for one year I have my right pro-life no fetus same cry we nipa entino omeda so we are can yet see one more can pro-choice no say but they more parasite you na be free you see it me one free
yo I think society I think really murder question. I see the Supreme Court, I see the Supreme Court recognize them as legal. The Supreme Court refused.
No more person yet about legal.
To persons. The law their constitutional rights copy of human being animal. Some said a parasite body of others. Nothing humanity. Just a mass. Leaders allege that could be if evacuate explained that they are bought for medical research to countries of society. Hey, sound it might. These activities began in Supreme Court ruled that Jews living in legal. Hitler, who stated and political mean that Jews are a parasite. The other comments are accepted from various Nazi reports and documents. The tragic end of this vicious mind, 6 million Jews were in Hitler's Holocaust. Now, compare notes. In 1973, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that unborn babies are not legal persons. Some doctors claim that fetus was just a protoplasmic mass. A protoplasmic mass. Feminist Gloria Steinem declared that a woman will have the right to abortion just as she has a right to remove any parasitic in her body.
Yeah.
Hey,
pro-life.
when you for say a letter from the womb. Dear parents and friends, you cannot imagine how tiny I am, but I am every day a little bigger. I tell myself one day I will grow to be a big, ready to enter outside the womb. But life in the womb, do you really want to know? Well, it is a beautiful world of its own. We communicate with our mother more than you can ever imagine. Yesterday, Mom ate a thick, messy stuff I don't quite like. I told her not to eat that food again. She listened, but not before I had kicked and punched her with my tiny hands. I am I am wise. Many people don't know much about us, unborn babies in the womb. Simply, morality dictates that unless and until someone can prove that we are not alive, you must all give us the benefits of the doubt and assume that we are alive. Have you forgotten so soon what the Catholic Church says about us? I just know it because Mom repeats it over and over again. Conceptions is the beginning of human life.
Yeah.
Yo.
And the question is, beside no abortion, a murder, Anna. You be who away last video.
Okay.
Now, son, ubeyi last video no. Yenyanti asiye niyanti ehwan say. Margaret Sanger, any Alice Bailey, or contemporaries. Baako influence the other, probably. Margaret Sanger, other sort say, Alice Bailey say, in establishing clinics. Free sex, you know, unwanted pregnancy, biaba, you bet me a konyaku. And no Margaret Sanger, so you say, any menyabuta will be as. And you know, yeah, or start with birth control. And actually, it will be best to set up clinics areas that we don't want their population to flourish, enjoy the Planned Parenthood, and so a buy. And the question back is about pro-life any pro-choice akoko
second video a yɛhwɛ ne yɛ Planned Parenthood, the largest single provider of abortion services. Mufasa video no engumumai.
Legal abortion has killed more African Americans than AIDS, cancer, diabetes, heart disease, and violent crime combined. Every week, more blacks die in American abortion clinics than the entire Vietnam War. And the largest chain of abortion clinics in the United States is operated by Planned Parenthood.
We have now reached a point in this country that African American women make up 12% of the population. They account for 37% of the abortions. An African American baby is almost 5 times more likely to be aborted than a white child. The abortion industry at this point kills as many African American people every 4 days as the Klan killed in 150 years. And you can truly say the most dangerous place for an African American to be is in the womb of their African American mother.
All across America, you can stand outside of the abortion clinics and see a steady stream of black women coming in and out. But somewhere along the way, we got the idea that this is a white issue or a conservative issue or a Republican issue, and therefore it's not an issue that we have to be concerned about. This same attitude has allowed Planned Parenthood and other members of the abortion industry to carry out this genocide right under our very noses. Right now in America, about half of our babies are being killed in the womb. And in certain parts of America, more of our babies are being aborted than are being born.
When 17,000 aborted babies were found in a dumpster outside of a pathology laboratory in Los Angeles, California, some 12 to 15,000 were observed to be black. Irma Clardy Craven, Chairman, Minneapolis Commission on Human Rights and Secretary of the Urban League.
To understand what the agenda was behind the legalization of abortion, all you need to do is look at the statistics from the U.S. government. Studies from the CDC show that prior to the legalization of abortion, approximately 80% of all illegal abortions were done on white women. One study in New York even found that white women had 5 times as many abortions as black women. But at the moment abortion became legal, that began to reverse. And that's why the legalization of abortion was so crucial for the eugenics movement. Legalization created the ability to market abortion in the black community. And from a eugenics standpoint, that changed everything.
These people cannot have it both ways. First, they say that birth control will reduce the number of abortions. Then they flood our neighborhoods with birth control clinics. And what's the result? Our abortion rate skyrockets. So either they lied about the fact that birth control would reduce abortions in our neighborhoods, or this is the results and the purpose they wanted from the beginning. At this point, I truly have the tendency to believe the latter.
In 1973, the year abortion was legalized nationwide, Dr. Christopher Tizzi produced a study on abortion demographics at the request of the Population Council, a New York-based eugenics organization. In this report, Tizzi confirmed previous research showing that when abortion is illegal, the abortion rate is much higher for white women than for black women, but that this completely reverses whenever abortion is legalized. At the time he published these findings, Tizzi was a consultant to both Planned Parenthood and the National Abortion Federation.
Other researchers within the eugenics and abortion movements were also documenting that easy access to abortion clinics produces higher abortion rates in the surrounding area. And at least one expert discovered that having a nearby clinic is a bigger factor in the black abortion rate than it is in the white abortion rate. At the same time this data is being circulated, Planned Parenthood and the rest of the abortion lobby were in the process of locating the vast majority of their facilities in minority neighborhoods. Then in 1974, a study was released on population control that had been conducted by researchers at 3 major universities. By analyzing data obtained from Planned Parenthood's own records, they determined that the #1 factor in deciding whether a county in the United States provided free or low-cost family planning services was not poverty, but race. The researchers said their findings seemed to support the contention of many civil rights activists that such programs are less intended to assist the poor than they are to control the growth of the black population.
Birth control and abortion are turning out to be the great eugenic advances of our time. Frederick Osborne, founding member of the American Eugenics Society, 1973.
The best way to hate a nigger is to hate him before he is born. Leander Perez, Louisiana State Judge, 1970.
Yeguswara etiako agwam yen sorry ye dwumadie na na yeguso edema o last video no fa me ye ko hwe ye na e kire Planned Parenthood ye Margaret Sangai a de ba ya nhihye ni dwumadie nyina no hwe na gese Alice Bailey asem o kato ho a wa ye na 10 commandment 10 chapter UN for the year Juma UNICEF efum na omo so mo de ye yi no na mami we ko so mu ono so fa ya ono so eugenics kwan obefa enipa of sisi omo ho eni mfaso o wiase ono sisi omo ho ni mfaso omo ye useless eaters and it through ya before nti America mamu ni de kese o de sane mai ba ye kwan obefa so a na kese obeyi before afi ho na oyi omo fi ho no na ohwe so omo ntumi nsan wungum biem na kese before no ope kwan obetore omase we ne niema mami we ode hihye ya enu nti ofama ye kohwe ehun video that's over
entimedi manusi na de American say ma enye ye dese ye legalize abortion enu nti no afi enipa baby ye baba ye kama quality of life ebeba ati so ye poultry farmer na onkuko start to na ubo kusu ya pesi anopa anwumre ede na ekire de ekire ni say wo da ache nkukọ e na wo we nti sa na tie dia legal abortion ba no a way of depopulating a nation because China and Japan what more brace say because of their aging population and the refusal of the younger ones to have children and untino ama oma be vulnerable sounds the bible to you the present young people we be young kokrafo a enchirima na wo ho no mbeba wo mo we o mi anwini enoso anwasi
ofa ye da se ofa de na no nyina asi abusua sabri MCR mo mehwe na mo ntwa ye line ntoma ye na afi ye fa nka boyi ye Freedom Mind School na ya e baso no MCR announce date ni say na ye on the 12th we ye nim be baso na so ya postpone no enti ye empanyifo nyina e wo Freedom Mind mu a aya eduso a mu nyina na ye tu yensa fe mo ba school ni bi no ya postpone no date ni beba e ba ye de ba be to ye ba be announce ofidie so ama wate enu nti no ma obiara emma enti various platforms no mo inform various leaders no na omo enfanto asopam se ne be ya we on be hye ne so e de amaye Takrade branch Linda yes sister Linda na wo ho ebi awo Takrade ne importem omo hia awo Takrade library o pese wo frɛ yes sister Linda number be frɛ ne 0551 400006 0551 400006 pacho Linda no ena oda branch oda so branch eno so omo hia wo oda library and number be frɛ no Bosco ye bra Bosco The number here is 0548 54368. 0548 054368. We motion so empamayen. Hello, Udini Fakwa Wefi.
Free Takwa from Mensa.
Yo, yeti one disem.
Mani disem said now for seeking kai, walking kai, you know, now it has, you know, a Nidan, ya been up of no, a good and so on. The Christian here.
Yo, yadase. I'm second kind of a churchrimu, a churchrimu plan and no Musu, any the into the buying, and I'm say graphics, you know, I in your appeal. I say, please, I am what's with you? I don't know what you want to say. Keep on. I was a prayer tower, but now I free-minded. Thank you. I'm Kofi Takwa Tieso. Hello, Dini Fakwa Frefi.
But I don't want to get a to pass a family country.
About your one of the same Ethiopia.
About come around with a power in a messure. Hey, yes, I'm full for West and this beer from that class. There's some got a black monkey. I'm going to name more some of the Bible, but there's a movie before you have flow.
And why do you know?
Can I offer Yago Shroud? And penny for you, penny for some time before the offer. Come in there. Kadana Quebec for you over in Tasman would then again to be beneath or would traffic a head for you. I'm a yaya, so the people away a memoir. I mean, I'm turning for the two members and the most of them are go school. And the real thing is, I name before much making car, more try of piano. I'm the only better to the movement of the I mean, the more fire. And so, quite the number, and really, I'm not just a little comment depending on the big guy. You don't come to the wishes are so about say how. And the woman more comment depending on who you but to know. I'm a fully working to make more.
You also hear that same mobile mine in Tintium now, young for writing about. Good afternoon, Wake Up Africa. I'm Eric, watching you from Diaso in Tum. Indeed, you are doing the great job for we. We don't know all this. May God continue to bless you and extend this program. Keep it up. Okay, yo. Hello, Dini Fakwa Frefi. Hello. Dini Fakwa Frefi. Okay, one of them. Get you. Yo, yes, yeah, that was it. Also, we say young and what? Question I will be say ha ha ha. Deception in capital letters. I know you're doing no. Hey, yes, somebody can hear deception. Okay, yo. Hello, Dini Fakwa Frefi.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
For sure. No morning, Mamma here. My phone is a 10 years. Nah.
Oh, Tiano, I sent you one name. Yes, see you, Fiso. I'm Ofe and have been watching Wake Up Africa for the past few months. Is there any platform I can join to learn more for my liberation from these colonizers? Thank you. Yes, platform no. Hello, Dini Fakwa Frefi. Hello.
Hello, Penny.
Yes, sir. Dini Fakwa Frefi.
Yo, you didn't do about you because it's a fantastic champion.
Maybe I told you, Yanko.
Oh, a dear dream of and immediately because we have a part of the Yamiabin, but then maybe Yamin.
Yeah, that's it. A week without listening to you is like without drinking that for the whole day. Bravo. My name is Kofi Kufuor at Bra Tuakrum, Asante Akim North. Asante Akim North. Okay, yo. Hello, Dini Fakwa Frefi.
Hello.
Yeah. Yeah, shalom.
Yo,
yeti opa. Okay.
And the Israel will be actually Chiano. The car will be at the demo now. What will be a decent amount of number to do now. I'm afraid of Mumbu, any practice of Mumbu, and Mumbu. No, you're not practice. You'll be more about any patcher, any graph. Oh, let me hear mobile.
Yeah, that's it. When I was at I attended a teenage and reproductive health workshop with one student girl and boy. We were giving forms to give to any pregnant girl, student, or non. If she visits any health center with these forms for abortion, the abortion cost will range from free to very cheap or cheaper cost. Kojo Yeboah Sunyani. Yo. Hello, Udini Fakwa Fefi.
Alors, but you didn't give you answer. The first few was up.
But you meet you.
But I can't use some more cancer. You may be me to me by almost 10 years ago. And then, the same issue for Pocodan say, Siciano, Gana, Sanya, the same issue said, I know. Choosing with shred actually, my didn't doesn't reason. You have to skirt and a question to do. Nothing so. That's got a month for eyes are rich and a quay. And then at the end,
maybe I saw you where there was some and funny yet. Yen the Anna yet or Hanna can was some yen to be so beside I add the money. Mema mo a how wafa ne a bushing for wafa yedawo I say, sir. Wama yen ehu nioma a obonsam de adefe saso asi wia nipa adwene awedia wade inshira this is nana mama swag buwe inka muhu. Okay, yo. Pacho, yeah, that's it. I'm DJ Code from Techiman. There is the Mary Stock Center in Techiman, located at Tako. What you are saying is true. Okay, you wait there or Cherese and Pasana near Kano Techiman Center Kura Ewoho. Abusia aha na bribe ma yakwan am yede dwumadie ni nyina aba mi amiti agwamu midi ane kwi empanyifo aminiom di dwuma enedai eye kwa o ye executive director Edema Eko Efe Freedom Movement ene ama yehu education share kira anu ntini ayehu na afi na right ni sa ne mani nyina ne dinti a ebai abo ade dum yen a da se na ye bese hia usia me ba bia ko eno